Tokyo, a city of old temples and new lights. Hello everyone. Today we have a special story for you. It is about a big city, a city with a long past and a bright future. It is a story about change and about finding beauty in the old and the new. Before we start, I have a question for you. Have you ever visited a very big city? Tell me about it in the comments below. What did you see? Haru was an old man. He lived in a small wooden house in a quiet part of Tokyo. His house was very old. His grandfather built it a long time ago. The wood of the house was dark and smooth. Haru loved his house. It was his small piece of the old Tokyo. Every morning, Haru woke up early. The sun would come through his paper window. He would sit on the floor and drink a cup of green tea. The tea was warm and tasted good. From his window he could see his small garden. He had a few green plants and some smooth gray stones. A small bamboo fountain made a soft sound. This sound made Haru feel calm. It was the sound of his life. Haru's world was small and quiet. He liked it that way. But outside his small world, Tokyo was big and loud. When he stood on his small street, he could see the tall buildings. They were made of glass and steel. They were like giant mirrors, showing the sky. At night, these buildings had bright lights, red, blue, green, and white lights. The lights moved and changed. They made the night sky look like a big celebration. Haru did not like the new buildings and the bright lights. He remembered a different Tokyo. He remembered when the buildings were not so tall. He remembered when the streets were not so full of people. He remembered a quieter city. Sometimes he felt like a stranger in his own home. The new Tokyo was too fast for him. It was too loud. He missed the old Tokyo. Haru had a granddaughter. Her name was Yuki. Yuki was a young woman. She was 20 years old. She loved her grandfather very much. She visited him every weekend. She brought him sweets and told him stories about her week. Yuki was part of the new Tokyo. She had a smartphone. She listened to new music. She wore bright clothes. She loved the big new city. She loved the energy and the lights. She saw the tall buildings and felt excited. She saw the busy streets and felt alive. Yuki knew her grandfather was not happy with the new city. She could see it in his eyes. He looked at the tall buildings with a sad face. He talked about the old days a lot. Yuki wanted to help him. She wanted him to see the beauty she saw. She wanted to show him that the old Tokyo was still there. It was just hiding. One Saturday, Yuki came to Haru's house. She had an idea. "Grandfather," she said, "let's go for a walk. But not our usual walk. Let's go on an adventure. I want to show you my Tokyo." Haru looked at her. He saw the excitement in her eyes. He was old, and he did not like big adventures. But he loved his granddaughter. He wanted to make her happy. "Okay, Yuki," he said with a small smile. "Show me your Tokyo." The next day, they started their journey. Yuki did not take him to the new bright places first. She took him to Yanaka. It was an old part of the city. The buildings were low. Many were made of wood, like Haru's house. The streets were small and narrow. They walked slowly. Haru felt comfortable here. It felt familiar. He saw small shops selling rice crackers. He could smell the sweet soy sauce. He saw a man fixing a bicycle in front of his shop. He saw a woman watering her plants in a small pot. They came to a big cemetery. It was very quiet. Tall green trees grew everywhere. The sunlight came through the leaves, making patterns on the ground. Old stone markers stood in lines. They were covered in soft green moss. Haru felt a sense of peace. This place had not changed. It was the same as when he was a boy. Yuki took his hand. "See, grandfather, the old Tokyo is still here. It is quiet and beautiful." Haru nodded. He felt a little bit of his sadness go away. After the cemetery, they walked to a small temple. The temple was not big or famous. It was a small, local temple. An old wooden gate stood at the entrance. Inside, there was a garden with sand and rocks. The sand was raked in perfect lines, like waves in the water. An old cherry tree stood in the corner. Its branches were long and twisted. Haru sat on a wooden bench. He looked at the garden. He listened to the quiet. There were no loud cars. There were no bright screens. There was only the sound of the wind in the trees and a distant bird singing. He felt like he could breathe here. Yuki sat next to him. She did not say anything. She just sat with him, sharing the quiet moment. After a long time, Haru spoke. "This is good, Yuki," he said. "This is very good." He was happy. For the first time in a long time, he felt at home in his city. He saw that a piece of his old Tokyo still lived. The next day, Yuki said, "Today we will see something different." Haru was a little worried. He liked the quiet day in Yanaka. He did not want to see the loud new city, but he trusted Yuki. She took him on a train. The train was clean and fast. It moved under the ground. Haru did not like the train very much. It was full of people. No one talked. Everyone looked at their phones. They got off the train at a station called Shibuya. The moment they came out of the station, Haru felt a wave of sound and light hit him. They were standing in one of the busiest places in the world. People were everywhere, thousands of people. They were all walking at the same time, crossing a very big street. They moved like a river of people. Cars stopped. The people walked. The walking signs were green. Then the signs turned red. The people stopped. The cars moved. It was a strange dance. Haru had never seen so many people in one place. He held Yuki's hand tightly. He felt very small. Big buildings stood all around them. The buildings were covered in giant screens. The screen showed advertisements. Bright colors, fast-moving pictures, and loud music came from the screens. A woman on a screen was singing. A car on another screen was driving very fast. Haru felt dizzy. His head hurt from the noise. His eyes hurt from the lights. This was the Tokyo he did not like. This was the fast, loud city that made him feel lost. "This is too much, Yuki," he said. "It's too loud." Yuki understood. She led him away from the big street crossing. She took him to a smaller, quieter street nearby. They found a small cafe. They went inside. It was warm and quiet. They sat at a small table by the window. Yuki ordered coffee for herself and tea for Haru. Haru drank his tea. His hands were shaking a little. He looked out the window at the busy street. "Why do you like this place, Yuki?" he asked. "It is so, crazy." Yuki smiled. "It is full of life, grandfather. It is full of energy. All these people, they all have a story. They are going to work, or to meet friends, or to find something new. It is like the heart of the city beating very fast." Haru watched the people. He saw young people laughing. He saw a man in a business suit talking on his phone. He saw a woman carrying shopping bags. They were all part of this new Tokyo. They were not sad or lost. They were busy and alive. He did not understand it, but he started to see that it was not bad. It was just different. He looked at Yuki. She was watching the people with a happy look on her face. She belonged here. She was part of this energy, and he loved her. He wanted to understand her world. "Okay," he said softly, "the heart of the city." The third day, Yuki said, "Today we will mix the old and the new." They went to a place called Shinjuku. Haru knew Shinjuku. It had many tall buildings. He saw the Tokyo government building. It was huge, like 2 towers reaching for the sky. "This is the new city," Haru said. "Yes," Yuki said, "but look closer." She took him inside one of the tall towers. They went in a very fast elevator. Haru's ears popped. The elevator took them up, up, up. It stopped at the top floor. They stepped out into a big room with giant windows. From the windows, they could see all of Tokyo. Haru walked to the window. He was amazed. The city looked like a giant map. He could see buildings and streets and parks. The city went on and on, all the way to the horizon. He saw the busy streets of Shibuya, but from up here they were silent. The people looked like tiny ants. Yuki pointed. "Look over there, grandfather." Haru looked where she was pointing. He saw a large dark green area. It was a big park. "That is Shinjuku Gyoen National Garden," Yuki said. "It is a very old and beautiful garden. It is right next to all these new buildings." Then Yuki pointed again. "And look there." Haru looked closely. He saw the roof of a temple. It was a dark, curved roof, nestled between 2 shiny glass buildings. An old temple, hiding in the new city. From up high, Haru could see it. He could see how the old and the new lived together. They were not fighting. They were just there. A new building next to an old garden. A busy road next to a quiet temple. It was all Tokyo. After that, they went down and walked to the park. It was like entering a different world. Inside the park, the noise of the city disappeared. There were trees and flowers and a big pond. People were walking slowly. Some were having a picnic on the grass. Haru and Yuki sat on a bench near the pond. They watched the big fish swim in the water. Haru could still see the tops of the tall buildings over the trees, but now he did not feel sad when he saw them. He saw them as part of the picture. The tall building, the green trees, the quiet water. It was all one picture. "I see," Haru said to Yuki. "The new city did not destroy the old city. It just grew around it." Yuki smiled and squeezed his hand. "Yes, grandfather, exactly." The next few days, they continued their journey. Yuki showed Haru many things. She took him to a place with many small restaurants. The streets were narrow and full of red paper lanterns. It felt like old Tokyo. They ate hot noodles in a tiny shop. The shop had only 6 chairs. The man who made the noodles was very old. He had been making noodles in that same shop for 50 years. The noodles were the best Haru had ever tasted. Then, just a few streets away, they went to a modern cafe. The cafe was bright and white. The music was new and soft. They drank coffee with beautiful art made in the foam. Young people sat with their laptops, working and talking. It was so different from the noodle shop, but the coffee was also very good. One day they went to a museum. The museum was in a very new modern building made of glass. Inside, they saw very old things. They saw beautiful kimonos from hundreds of years ago. They saw samurai swords, shiny and sharp. They saw old paintings of mountains and rivers. A new building was protecting the old treasures. Haru thought that was a good idea. They also went to Harajuku. The streets were full of young people. The young people wore very interesting clothes. Some had pink hair. Some had blue hair. They wore clothes with many colors and strange shapes. Haru had never seen anything like it. At first, he was very surprised. He thought it was strange. But then Yuki explained. They are just expressing themselves. Grandfather, they are showing who they are. It is a kind of art. Haru watched a group of girls laughing together. They were taking pictures. They looked so happy and full of life. He did not understand their clothes, but he understood their happiness. It was a different kind of beauty, not quiet and calm like his garden. It was a loud and colorful beauty. On their last day, Yuki had one more place to show him. They waited until the evening. The sun went down and the sky turned dark blue. They went to a tall building called the Tokyo Skytree. It was a huge tower, the tallest in the city. It was covered in lights. They went up the elevator, even higher than before. When they got to the top, the view was incredible. The whole city was below them, a sea of lights. It was not like the bright, messy lights of Shibuya. From up here, it was a beautiful pattern. Millions of small lights, white and yellow and red. The lights looked like stars that had fallen to the ground. The streets were lines of light, like rivers of gold. Haru stood by the window for a long time. He was not scared. He was not sad. He felt a deep sense of wonder. This was his city. This giant, shining, beautiful city. He saw the small, dark spots that were the parks and the temples. He saw the bright rivers of light that were the roads and the train lines. He saw it all. The old and the new. The quiet and the loud. The dark and the bright. "It is beautiful," he said. His voice was quiet. "Yes," Yuki said, standing beside him. "It is." Haru looked at the millions of lights. Each light was a home, or a car, or a shop. Each light was a person with a story, like him, like Yuki. The city was not just buildings and roads. It was people. It was life. The city had changed. It was not the city of his memories, but that was okay. His memories were safe in his heart. The new city had its own beauty, a different beauty, a beauty that his granddaughter Yuki had shown him. He turned to Yuki. Her face was lit by the city lights. He saw love in her eyes. "Thank you, Yuki," he said. "Thank you for showing me Tokyo, our Tokyo." He finally understood. Tokyo was not just a city of old temples. And it was not just a city of new lights. It was a city of old temples and new lights. They lived together. They made the city special. The old gave the city its soul. The new gave the city its energy. You needed both. When they went back to Haru's small wooden house, it felt even more special. It was a quiet island in a sea of bright lights. It was his piece of history. But now, he did not feel like the sea of lights was an enemy. He felt like it was his neighbor. The next morning, Haru woke up early. He sat on the floor and drank his green tea. He looked at his small garden. He heard the soft sound of the bamboo fountain. Plink plonk. Then he looked out his window. He saw the tall glass buildings in the distance. The morning sun was shining on them. They looked like mountains of light. Haru smiled. He felt calm. He felt happy. He was an old man in a new city, and he was home. Thank you for listening to our story. We hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe to our channel for more stories to help you learn English.